What's up, guys? We got a brand new body I just finished painting, and I saved the best part for you guys because I'm about to tear off the outer protective film that keeps this thing nice and clean while I paint it. So let's get to it. All right, voila, there she is. This thing looks awesome. I'm definitely a little rusty. I haven't painted in a while, but the lines look nice and clean. Nice bold color changes, and this thing will look awesome on the track. Got a little bit left to do with fitting it on the car, putting on some stickers from my friends and sponsors at Boom RC Graphics. Make sure you check those guys out. I'll put a link in the description. But this thing looks awesome. And while we get everything tidied up on this thing, I want to show you the steps that go into painting one of these things. First thing we do is cut the shell out from the mold. Basically, it comes with a little bit of extra Lexan on there, so I want to clear that off. A couple things that's going to do for me is save me some material as far as liquid mask goes, as well as paint if I'm not painting the whole mold. And the other thing, and the real advantage to me, is that I don't have to cut it out later and risk scratching the body when I use those Lexan scissors to get around this thing and make it look nice. Now, the second thing we're going to do is mask this body. So the first part of that is cleaning it off with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, making sure it has none of the dirt and contaminants. But one of the cool things about liquid mask is it actually kind of swallows that stuff up. So it's not the end of the world if you don't get it perfectly clean, but we want to make sure we clean it first. So once it's clean, we'll throw on some liquid mask. You can see I'm just using a paintbrush to get this stuff done. Professional painters will typically use a spray gun so they can get that done a little bit faster. And again, typically those guys aren't going to cut the body out as well, just to save themselves a little bit of time. Now the third thing is to map out our design, and on the outside of the body it's got a protective film that I can use a Sharpie over to lay out my design. Now this doesn't have to be perfect, and typically mine definitely isn't. I actually just draw one line where I'm going to use and cut two lines, and then once we have our design all laid out, I'm going to turn this thing over, grab my X-ACTO knife, and I'm going to cut each line by hand. Now you'll see me cut one line on my marked lines first. I'm going to leave a couple little interesting spots where I'm going to do something a little bit different with the paint, and then I'm going to take some more isopropyl alcohol, clean that line off the outside of the body so I can then see the inside line that I've cut already better, and then I'll freehand it with a second line to match that guy so it looks pretty cool. So there's quite a bit that goes into cutting these things, and really that's kind of where the magic happens, and that's where these nice clean lines happen, is in the cutting. All right, so now we got a cutout mask, and we've cut our lines for our body design, so it's time to rip off some of that mask and start painting this thing. Ripping the mask off is one of the more tedious parts for me personally, because I take it really carefully. I don't want any of that material to lift up and give me a little bit less clean lines. So take your time on pulling that mask away, and then it'll be time to spray this thing and make it look cool. So spraying is definitely the payoff. You can start to see what it looks like. My biggest suggestions when you're painting one of these things is to use some bold colors and bold lines. If you make it too busy, you're really just not going to see that stuff out on the racetrack. So keep it bold. You can see some extra flair in this guy with a little bit of shading, as well as some paint splatter. Like I said, it's been a little while since I painted, so I struggled to find a brush for that. And it wasn't my best, but it's going to look awesome on the track. So I'm really not worried about it. Then once it's all sprayed, pull the window masks. And of course, then like I showed you guys at the start of this video, you get to pull that outer protective mask and see what this thing looks like. All right, this thing looks awesome, but enough talking about it. Let's mount this thing up and go run it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're going to try any of the techniques that I told you about on this video, make sure to leave a comment below. And of course, like and subscribe to the channel.